Good day. This is Global Watch on your digital First Pan-African News Network, TOS Television. I am Abigail Okwade. A man opened fire at a supermarket in Boulder, Colorado on Monday, killing 10 people, including a police officer. The police detained an injured suspect at the King Supermarket. The grocery store is located in a busy shopping plaza at Boulder, a north-central Colorado city, about 50 kilometers away from the state capital of Denver. Those present in the store said they had to dive for cover or run to safety as the shooting unfolded. Police gave few immediate details of the shooting and no known motive for the violence. The Boulder Police Force Department later warned people to avoid the area. The police have promised that the full weight of federal law enforcement will be brought in the investigation. The shooting comes 6 days after 8 people were killed by a gunman at 3 spas in Atlanta and a nearby county. Monday's mid-afternoon attack was the 7th mass killing this year in the United States, coming just 6 days after an attack that left 8 people dead at 3 Atlanta area massage businesses. Still in the United States, a resident was killed and 2 firefighters were injured in a fire on Tuesday at an assisted living facility in New York that prompted an evacuation and led to the partial collapse of the building, officials said. Flames gutted the Evergreen Court home for adults in the Rockland County community of Spring Valley, about 48 kilometers north of New York City. In a press briefing, Rockland County Fire Coordinator Chris Kerr said 1 resident was killed in the early morning fire. The person's name was not immediately released. Kerr said 2 firefighters were taken to the area hospitals for treatment of injuries from the fire. Several agencies worked to get the fire under control. At one point, video from the scene showed the 2nd floor of the facility collapsing as the fire burned. The number of residents in the building at the time of the fire is unknown, and the cause of the fire was not immediately known. Still on fire accidents, a massive fire swept through Rohingya refugee camp at Ukia in Bangladesh on Monday, rendering thousands of people homeless. At least 15 people have been, while at least 400 missing, the UN Refugee Agency said on Tuesday. The fire started at the camp on Monday. According to witnesses, the barbed fencing around the camp prevented people from escaping the fire, and this caused casualties. The Bangladeshi officials have started investigating the cause of the fire. The refugee camps at Cox's Bazar area of Bangladesh accommodate over 1 million Rohingyas who fled the military crackdown in the Rakhine province of Myanmar in 2017. Israelis began voting on Tuesday in the country's 4th parliamentary election in 2 years. Polling stations opened across Israel and the occupied West Bank with some 6.5 million registered voters. Tuesday's election was triggered by the disintegration of an emergency government formed last May between Netanyahu and his chief rival, Benny Gantz, to manage the coronavirus pandemic. The alliance was plagued by infighting, and elections were triggered by the government's failure in December last year to agree on a budget. Vote, 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 Netanyahu said after casting his ballot in Jerusalem, his wife Sarah at his side. He called the occasion a festival of democracy. Up to 15% of the electorate is expected to vote outside their home districts, a batch of absentee balloting that's larger than usual to accommodate those with coronavirus or in quarantine. The government is dispatching special polling stations, including bringing voting boxes to patients' bedsides to provide ways for them to cast ballots safely. Those votes are tallied separately in Jerusalem, meaning final results may not be known for days. Given the tight race, the large number of undecided voters, and a number of small parties struggling to cross the 3.25 threshold for entry into the parliament, could be difficult to predict the outcome before the final outcome is complete. The President of Australia, Scott Morrison, on Tuesday promised significant cultural change, which will help improve the treatment of women in the Parliament. He announced in Canberra that he would address every member of staff in government to discuss the poor treatment of women in the House. Morrison made the statement after a staffer was fired on Monday night after allegedly engaging in a sexual act on the desk of a female member of Parliament.
There has never been a more important time for women to stand in this place. I want to see more women in this place. I've done many things to get more women in this place, and I intend to do more. I've put more women in my cabinet than any other Prime Minister ever has before, and I look forward to doing more. I need women to stand with me as we go about this. As we stand together, I need them to stand in this place. I need them to stand right where they are. I need them to continue to blaze that trail right here in this place. I admire their courage and I call on it.
The government says it has started an investigation into those who allegedly swapped images and videos filmed at the Parliament House. The Prime Minister told reporters in a press conference that the Parliament House must be put in order as the problem must be recognized, acknowledged and fixed. You are watching Global Watch. Coming up next, World Health Organization chief blasts inequality in vaccine distribution between countries. This and more after the break. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. You are still watching Global Watch. The Director General of the World Health Organization blasted the growing vaccine inequality on Monday.
Countries that are now vaccinating younger, healthy people at low risk of disease are doing so at the cost of the lives of health workers, older people, and other at-risk groups in other countries. The world's poorest countries wonder whether rich countries really mean what they say when they talk about solidarity. The inequitable distribution of vaccines is not just a moral outrage. It's also economically and epidemiologically self-defeating. Some countries are racing to vaccinate their entire populations while other countries have nothing. As long as the virus continues to circulate everywhere, anywhere, people will continue to die. Trade and travel will continue to be disrupted. And the economic recovery.
Tedros has frequently warned that if the virus spreads unhindered in some parts of the world, mutations and variants can pose a threat everywhere. Many rich countries have pledged to support the COVAX Global Vaccine Sharing Initiative to give poorer countries access to vaccines, but few so far have shared their stocks. While many low-income countries have not yet received a single vaccine doses, some wealthier countries have ordered enough doses to inoculate their populations twice. After a long discussion with Germany's 16 state governors, Chancellor Angela Merkel announced that the lockdown restrictions previously set to run through March 28 will now continue over the Easter holiday to April 18 in response to a third wave of COVID-19 infections. Merkel said Germany was now in a very serious situation as the infection rate has risen above 100 per 100,000 inhabitants. A further 7,485 infections have been reported in the past 24 hours, as well as 250 deaths. She said the highly contagious UK variant had become dominant in Germany, putting the country in a new pandemic. Germans are being asked to stay at home and reduce contacts. Existing measures such as the closure of sporting facilities will remain in place until 18th April. All shops will shut, apart from food shops on Saturday, 3rd April. Religious and big family gatherings are also banned. Still on COVID-19, in a statement, the United States Data and Safety Monitoring Board expressed concern that the AstraZeneca vaccine may have included outdated information from that trial, which may have provided an incomplete view of the efficacy data. The statement comes after AstraZeneca on Monday reported that its vaccine gave strong protection to adults of all ages in a long-anticipated U.S. study, and this could help rebuild public confidence in the shot around the world and move it a step closer to clearance in the United States. AstraZeneca also said the study's independent safety monitors found no serious side effects, such as increased risk of rare blood clots like those identified in Europe, as the fear has led numerous countries to suspend vaccinations last week. The health agency urged the company to work with them to review the efficacy data and ensure the most accurate, up-to-date efficacy data be made public as quick as possible. Coroner's reports, and now in entertainment, I beg your pardon, Coroner's report said Bobby Brown Jr., son of R&B singer Bobby Brown, died of an overdose of alcohol cocaine, and the powerful opioid fentanyl at his Los Angeles home on 18 November of 2020. The autopsy report released on Monday referred to his death as an accident, although the musician is said to have had a history of drug and alcohol use, the report said. The 28-year-old was found unresponsive in his bedroom by his girlfriend. She had called paramedics who declared him dead. The night before his death, he had consumed tequila and cocaine and snorted the painkiller, a witness told police. The family said Brown Jr. was experiencing flu-like symptoms at the time, but had not tested positive for COVID-19. His death came 8 years after his stepmother, Whitney Houston, accidentally drowned in a bath, and 5 years after his 22-year-old half-sister, Bobby Christina, died in similar circumstances. That is it on Global Watch for today. For more updates, do visit our website at www.tostvnetwork.com. To follow and like our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And remember to subscribe on YouTube. I am Abigail Ukwade. Remain safe.